break. Alright, hey guys, Nishi and Oscar here, and we have Ryan Dale on the black side versus Matt Brinkman on the white side, and this is Table 1, Round 5.
So both players are playing Infernoids here, and I know Matt personally. He goes to our locals, and he's been playing Infernoids ever since the deck came out. He's been incredibly hyped about the deck, and he loves this deck. So let's see if his love for the deck will be a triumph over Ryan, who is a very seasoned veteran. It looks like he's going to play Charge of Light Brigade, a great card for Infernoids. He's milling, he loves milling. He's going to get a Light Sworn card to mill some more.
Yeah, so he milled one Trooper and one Lumina, which isn't that great because they aren't Infernoids, so he can't banish them. But he got the one Light Sworn Engrave, and he gets to add the Raiden to his hand, so let's see what he can mill off of the Raiden.
Yeah, so the Raiden will give him 4 more cards to mill, and if he has something like Reasoning or Monster Gate, it'll really open it up. And I feel like in this matchup, the Infernoid player who establishes a board and establishes a mills first will win the game easily because he can control the opponent's graveyard by just banishing tributing Infernoids to banish Infernoids from your opponent's grave.
So a great mill for Matt here. He milled 2 more Infernoids to add to the graveyard.
He's going to get 2 more in the end phase. It looks like
he still had the Reasoning too.
Wow, and it's a great mill, especially because he cuts so many of the normal monsters from his deck.
He's going to fill his graveyard really quickly.
I saw a Lumina, a Card Trooper, and a Raiden, so they only play about 4 or 5 normal summons at the tops, I think. Maybe 6. But let's see how many he's going to be able to mill out right now. So I think Ryan is actually debating what number he wants to call because so many numbers have been chosen, especially because he's shown Lumina, which is a very odd card to play in Infernoids, actually.
Alright, so he's going to mill. He mills Monster Gate, Dark Hole, Reasoning, a couple more, a Galaxy Cyclone, a Void Seer in there, and he gets to a Raiden.
Wow, so double Raiden, but no, he gets 3 Infernoids, I think, a Void Seer, and a Galaxy Cyclone. So that's a pretty decent mill, and also the second Raiden will give him some more mills. But he actually can activate that Raiden effect because he can only use Raiden's mill effect once per turn. So it looks like he's going to summon out an Infernoid. Yeah, he's going to summon out an Infernoid, look to put some pressure on the map, and actually he can tribute off the Raidens to banish cards from Ryan's graveyard. So it's actually a pretty good move by his part.
So during the end phase, he's going to mill 2 cards for each Raiden. He gets 2 Infernoids and a Lumina down into the graveyard.
So pretty solid mills all around, actually, for Matt. And I feel like that's a pretty good start for him.
Yeah, that graveyard's really full.
So let's see if Ryan can actually answer back with some of his own mills. So it's the same opening.
He mills Double Mistake and Reasoning. Those mistakes really weren't going to put much work into this matchup.
He is better than drawing them, but honestly, that's a pretty bad mill.
Yeah, he doesn't have any fuel.
He will get a second attempt at it, though, with his possible Raiden or maybe Lila, I guess. Most likely a Raiden.
Probably. I think Ryan only sides the Lilas, so...
Okay. Yeah, but he plays main board Mistake. I guess he's really fearing the Necros matchup.
Yeah.
So he adds the Raiden. Maybe he will look to play his own Reasoning. Did Ryan open his own Reasoning? We'll find out soon enough. So I actually wonder how many mistakes does Ryan play in the main board, do you know?
I believe he plays 3.
Wow, 3 mistakes. I guess the deck doesn't search at all.
Yeah.
Outside of Charge of the Light Brigade, the deck searches very little, and Charge is a cost mill, but of course you can activate it if mistake is on the face-up on the board.
Right.
But even in the mirror match, if both Infernoids are playing Mistake, you can play Charge, and if Mistake is being changed, you'll still mill the 3 cards at the top, which is what's really important. Yeah, so it looks like Ryan has not opened that great. He's just going to summon the Raiden here.
He mills Dark Hole and a Harmadic, I believe. So he gets the 1 in there, but that's not really enough to go off here.
Yeah, honestly, Ryan is looking in a pretty poor position right now. Matt has the option to basically control his graveyard right now. I think he's contemplating the decision to control it, but nope, he's just gonna let Ryan summon.
Oh, so Ryan special summons an Infernoid and then tributes it off for Monster Gate. He's gonna... Oh, he actually does get quite a few mills in here.
Oh, so he's getting a pretty decent mill. The game is now pretty even. Double Book of Eclipse, that's a pretty good mill for him, actually, because he doesn't want to open that at all.
And he gets the Card Trooper.
Oh, the Card Trooper comes out. So
that's
he
going to give him
3
more
mills. And that actually gives him a Black Rose option on the board right now, if he wants to summon that. Of course, that's actually not a bad choice, because it'll force him to banish 1 card at least. But it'll kind of clear his board. Or he can make something like Mikkel. Although I don't think you can make Mikkel. Mikkel, I think it's just has to be only light monsters. But we'll see what he can make here. He might just choose to sling.
I think if I was Ryan here, I'd probably look to make Black Rose, kill everything off, and then special summon a couple of big Infernoids from the graveyard. But keep in mind that Matt can still chain the effect of a Tondle and tribute off something to banish from Ryan's graveyard.
Yeah, not to mention the Matt actually has a Void Seer in the grave,
right.
So he'll be able to save one of his Infernoid monsters. But that's honestly not a big deal for him, because Ryan, like Matt, has pretty much infinite access to all the graveyard, and he mills more Infernoids off the Card Trooper, so he's got a ton of resources to play with.
I can't quite see what that card is with the glare there, but whatever it is, he summoned it.
Looks like it's Sedimus.
Yeah, that's probably a Sedimus.
Yeah, it's a Sedimus. So he lets it through. He doesn't tribute it, I don't think. So Matt's just gonna take all the damage here instead of opting to use the tribute effect and leave his bigger monster on the board, so Card Trooper's attack would pretty much be worthless. Yeah. So, okay, so Matt's going to save his Infernoid from being banished from Sedimus, which is actually a pretty smart play, and chain it to the effect of the end of the battle phase, where Sedimus attempts to banish the Infernoid monster, and instead he'll just tribute it and banish another Infernoid from Ryan's graveyard. So a pretty smart play, actually.
And it's looking like he'll banish an Tondle. That's good, because a Tondle is one of the ones that can be special summoned from the graveyard too. So not only would it just be fodder, it would also be something he could bring back and beat down Matt with.
Right, so keep in mind here that the small ones can't be special summoned from the graveyard, only the big ones. So if you're looking to banish from the grave, you're going to be looking to banish only the big ones, because the small ones are just fodder, and as Kenny said, but the big ones are actually the threats.
Right, so the big ones being Sitesmith, a Tondle, Deviati, and an Unku.
So what does Deviati and Anku do?
Okay, so these are the 2 boss monsters of the deck. Infernoid Deviati, it requires 3 banished Infernoid monsters to special summon, but when you do, it's a heavy storm. It destroys all spell and trap cards on the field, except void cards, and you contribute a monster to negate and banish a monster. However, with a Nunku, it still requires 3 monsters to be banished, but when it's summoned, it's a dark hole. It destroys all other monsters on the field, and you contribute a monster to negate a spell or trap and banish it. So they do have cards to handle a variety of situations here. Okay, so a quick dispute here. The effect of Sitesimus, because it's a mandatory effect and it has to banish something but doesn't target, he has to select something to banish. And because Matt chose to chain the effect of his Tondle, Ryan's kind of stuck with what he has to do, so he elects to target itself and then chain its effect where it tributes itself to banish a card from the opponent's graveyard.
That is actually quite an odd play. I
Yeah.
don't think I've ever seen something as similar like that. I'm curious as to how both players figured out that chain links and how they would resolve it. It might have just been, they were doing the chain links and then Ryan realized a little late and he just kind of chained it anyways. Which is okay. It's actually okay as long as Ryan doesn't accept the fact that the chain link has ended and they're now resolving effects. Because of course you can't interrupt the chain link, as all cards have to resolve before any new effects can be activated. But interesting that Cinemus has to banish, so it's kind of like Harpy's Hunting Ground, where it has to pop something on the board even if it pops itself. A little weird, but in this matchup I guess it's not the greatest.
But I think it's what Ryan definitely had to do to get that threat off of the board.
Right. Looks like he's going to sync here for a level 7. It's going to be maybe Clearwing Synchro or
Possibly
Moonlight.
Clearwing. He could also go for Scrap Archfiend here. Something interesting. Oh, so Ancient... I believe that's Ancient Sacred Wyvern. So... Ancient Sacred Wyvern, it gains if you're ahead in life points, it gains attack points equal to the difference in life points. So that Ancient Sacred Wyvern is actually huge right now.
Oh, the Vanity's Emptiness. He's also banished a Galaxy Cyclone with the previous Infernoid effect. The Cinemus was tribute itself, and he banished the Galaxy Cyclone, which means he has no out right now to really get rid of it.
So that's definitely Ryan thinking a turn ahead here.
Yeah, that was a really good play by Ryan. Looks like Matt's hand doesn't have an MST or anything really relevant to deal with the Vanity's Emptiness or the gigantic Ancient Sacred Wyvern on the board right now. And it looks like it might actually just finish the game here.
Oh, so Matt actually activates Dark Core. That allows him to discard a card from his hand to banish a face-up monster on the field, and he actually gets rid of Ancient Sacred Wyvern. So that Vanity's Emptiness is actually working against Ryan here, because while Matt can't special summon, neither can Ryan.
Yeah, especially because Dark Core only banished the Ancient Sacred Wyvern. It didn't destroy or send any cards from the field to the graveyard. Vanity's Emptiness is still on the board, and it's actually pretty difficult for Ryan to clear it.
That's actually a very interesting main deck tech by Matt, but it's working out really well for him here.
I'm guessing it's a degen lockout that just worked out for this matchup, I guess, in this case.
Well, it's working better than Book of Eclipse would have, I think.
Yeah, actually, the Dark Core was actually pretty useful here.
Yeah.
I don't know if Ryan can really get rid of it. I'm not sure if Galaxy Cyclone can target Vanity's Emptiness, like your own Vanity's Emptiness. But still, Matt does have to look for an out to Emptiness before he can try to win the game. The best thing he can do right now is hope that it's been being stalled out.
Right, so with neither player having any monsters here, whoever can draw an out to the Emptiness first and then spam the board will be in a lot better position here, I think. It doesn't look like Ryan has an immediate answer.
I was looking at his extra deck, which is a little weird. I'm not sure exactly what Infernoids play in the extra deck. I'm sure they play some Synchros, some level 7s even, because of definitely the Lightsworn engine that they play. Maybe some rank 4 toolbox, I would assume. But I don't feel like the extra deck is a very massive part of the deck. It's just more of a utility in case they really need it. But at this point, with the Emptiness on, it's not very useful. I feel like Ryan is just doing what any experienced player would do, and just check every his options. Oh,
so he does have an out.
Yeah, so Galaxy Cyclone does pop his own Emptiness.
Oh, so he's going to use Lumina here to discard and special summon Raiden.
Okay, it looks like Ryan is going for game here.
So one interesting thing to note, Infernoid monsters can only be special summoned while the levels of all monsters you control are 8 or lower, but the levels that are counted are only those of effect monsters. So Ryan has the option here of Synchro summoning into Scrap Archfiend, which is a vanilla Synchro monster without an effect. And if he does, that won't count towards the level restriction, and he'll be able to fill up the board even more and attack.
Right, and also interesting is if you have like say 7 levels on the board, you can activate from someone from the grave to bring it over the 8, but then you can't summon anymore. But that's a way of bringing out a lot of damage on the board while playing with this Infernoid restriction. And honestly, the restriction is not that big of a deal. Looks like Ryan is just going to summon here. He's banished 2 Infernoids. He's considering his options, but he looks like he has a lot of monsters in the grave to summon.
So he banishes 2. Oh,
No, it's 3.
Summon an Anunku. And Lumina is going to attack for 1,000. Raiden attacks for 1,700. And Anunku attacks for, I believe, 29 or 3,000. 3,000, I think.
Okay, so a lot of damage. Let's see what he makes with that Lumina and Raiden. Honestly, I feel like there might have been a way to kill him. Obviously, Ryan is a much more experienced Infernoid player than me. I've never played the Infernoid deck, so he will definitely know the play better. He's going to go with the Mikhail, and that'll let him mill even more cards. And I feel like there's not many cards left in his deck. And Matt, who had a great start to begin with, is now slowing down. The mills are really stopped. Partially thanks to that emptiness.
Yeah, that emptiness was a really big play. It was really smart of Ryan to banish that Galaxy Cycle on the turn before, too.
Yeah, definitely thinking ahead there. Ryan, obviously very comfortable and a veteran player. He's been in the scene for almost, I think, ever since Yu-Gi-Oh! Started. So, 8+ years for sure. And he's a great player. I played him a lot of times in our locals and other locals. And he's looking to take this game 1. Now Matt here is carefully considering his options to deal with this board that Ryan has created. Personally, Matt is a little slower of a player. He literally likes to consider his options before he plays. So he's going to take his time here to really decide what he wants to use to optimally clear the board. And he definitely has options because he's got Infernoids in the grave.
Right, the important thing here is to carefully consider what it is that you're going to banish to summon your guys, because you want to make the most out of each monster you're summoning, right? So in this case, he's going to banish 2 to special summon. I believe that's a Sightsmith.
Right, and Sightsmith is 28?
26.
26,
2,600.
Right. So it's actually not bigger than either of those cards. I wonder what Matt's decision here will be. Oh, looks like he's changing his option right now. So he's decided against the Sightsmith. Can't get a clear look at the card right now, unfortunately. He's banishing more though, so it looks like he's going to summon out some more cards.
I believe that is a Sightsmith that he has.
That is a Sightsmith?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's banishing more. He's going to get 2 of them, actually. Oh, so he can overlay. He might be looking for some overlay options here.
Yeah, so Sightsmith is a level 7. Oh, he is. He's...
Oh.
I'm not quite sure what he wants
Draco
to make
Sack
here.
or Big Eye are
Right.
actually options. And since XYZs don't have levels, they only have ranks, he might actually be able to get more monsters on the board right
No,
now.
it counts ranks too.
It counts ranks too?
It does
Okay.
count ranks.
Okay, so I was wrong. Infernoids actually count ranks too, so he'll be able to summon 1 more monster. So I guess he looks like he's hovering the Draco Sack, which would be pretty useful right now to remove either of the monsters. But Big Eye actually might be a good option, since he'll be able to take the Mikhail and then banish. But of course, Ryan still has a massive graveyard to deal with the board next turn, and he really can't kill him this turn.
I don't know if... I believe you have to pay 1,000 life points for Michael's effect. And I don't think...
Yes.
I don't think Matt has the life points for that either. He's
Oh,
taken
yes.
2 massive hits
Yeah.
from Ryan, so...
Well, actually, another option you might have is to make a Draco Sack and then just tribute the Draco Sack itself without making any tokens to pop something on the board and then go back into his graveyard to make more monsters for free. Of course, you can just make Big Eye and steal the big Infernoid and then just run over Mikkel. It's not a big deal. But what is that back row actually that Ryan has? That's actually quite a concerning back row. It might be a mistake that he's drawing. It might be another Void Seer, perhaps. So it looks like he's went with the Draco Sack option.
Okay, so he's going to use Draco Sack's effect, detach one of the Sightsmiths to make 2 Draco Sack tokens. Interesting to see what will pop here. I'm going to use Draco Sack's effect to pop the Infernoid monster that's on the field.
So Ryan, in his next turn, will get the option of summoning one more.
Ryan has the Fiendish
The
Chain.
Fiendish Chain. That is not good for Matt
That's pretty
at all.
devastating.
It might actually be over for him at this point. He'll be able to banish the Draco Sack with Mikkel.
Right, and because of that token on the board now, he now controls a total of 10 levels, so he won't be able to summon any other Infernoid monsters either.
Right. Yeah, Draco Sack's also in attack mode. He didn't tribute the Draco Sack as a cost for the destruction effect. Instead, he chose to tribute a token, which means that Fiendish Chain will stop it for that turn.
Alright, tributing itself...
Tributing itself was probably the safe play to do.
Right.
I'm really thinking here that Matt did not expect a Fiendish Chain in the main board. Now, this is game 1. A Fiendish Chain in the main board in an Infernoid deck is actually not that standard at all.
Right.
I'm not sure they play many trap cards in general, actually. I would probably just say Emptiness.
Actually, I've talked with Ryan a little bit on this. The TCG tendency, actually, is to not play back row. I think most TCG players play very little. I think they only play Torrential and then maybe Breakthrough Skills. But I know Ryan, he's looked at the OCG tops with Infernoids, and what he's told me is that most of the OCG Infernoid builds are actually playing a ton of back row. So Ryan has Mirror Forces and Fiendish Chains in there. I wouldn't be surprised to even see something like Breakthrough Skill to help with his Necros matchup. But
Okay, so he can summon with the Infernoid monsters. Ranks don't count, it seems. Or is this just a misplay by Matt's part? I feel like both players would know the deck enough to make it count. But it looks like he's managed to summon one of the biggest Infernoids that is now hitting the board. I feel like this is an error on both players' parts because Draco Sack is 7 ranks and the token is level 3 stars. No, I feel like this is an error on both players.
Actually, no, this isn't an error because the token isn't an effect monster.
Okay.
Right. So the tokens are actually vanilla, so he's allowed to summon it.
Oh, yes, of course. The token is not an effect monster. Oh,
Right.
right. Obviously, my Infernoid knowledge is really showing a lack of here. But it looks like because Draco Sack is rank 7, Infernoids do count the ranks. We have clarified. Draco Sack is 7. The token is level 3, but it doesn't count because it's not an effect monster. He's still able to summon and bypass that level limit.
And I believe Matt has summoned a Deviati, so it destroys the Fiendish Chain, but Draco Sack still was not able to pop a monster on the field.
Yeah, Draco Sack can't attack either because he attempted to destroy a card. Fortunately, the giant monster on Ryan's board is still there. But it's actually pretty good for Matt at this point because he won't be able to summon a lot of monsters from the grave because it's taking up all the levels. So what do you think Ryan can do here?
It really depends on what he has in the graveyard. I know that Anunku isn't really doing anything right now. I think the Anunku is actually working against Ryan here because he's not able to special summon monsters right now, but he could use Anunku's effect and tribute itself to get it off the board to banish something, and that would free up room for Ryan to special summon.
It looks like Ryan's has Regeki, and he's going to play it and be able to pop everything on the board except for Dracosac because of the token.
Right. But Matt does have the Void Seer in the graveyard, so that's going to protect Deviati for the turn.
So that Regeki is actually not very useful at all.
But Anunku's going to attack over the Dracosac. So Anunku versus Deviati, the two boss monsters on board. And Matt draws for turn. He drew a Book of Eclipse.
That is actually a really good draw. He'll be able to Book of Eclipse his monster, summon some more, and then flip them all face up. That's actually a great draw on his part. But it looks like I think he's run out of Infernoids.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it looks like he's just gonna set
as you
the
were
Book of
saying at the
Eclipse.
beginning, whoever can fill up their grave with resources first is going to come out ahead in this
Yeah,
matchup.
Matt has lost a lot of steam here, whereas Ryan still has a massive pool of resources to play around with. And he's just going to swing with it.
Especially since Anunku's bigger than Deviati.
Now, will he play the Book of Eclipse as a defensive card to try to just keep his monster on the board? It's really not much value at all because Ryan will get a free draw from it. So, he's going to play Book of
I think he has
Eclipse.
to at this point.
Yeah, and in order to not die, he's going to play Book of Eclipse and give Ryan one card for the ability to live one more turn. So it's actually been a pretty long game now, reaching almost 25 minutes for game one. Don't think Infernoid mirrors are supposed to be this long. I've always found Infernoid as a very fast OTK deck that would just put monsters on board and have really good removal effects. But for the mirror match to be so long, it's kind of odd. It feels like the Nakros mirror, where it's really two OTK decks that are just stalled out and the mirror matches just take a very long time. It looks like Matt has actually topped a Burial from a different dimension. A really good card that'll actually add some more steam to his graveyard. Is this going to give him enough resources to kill Ryan, though?
The thing that Matt has to be worried about here too, he can't play too aggressively. He's really low on life points, and if he leaves himself open or he leaves the wrong monster in attack mode, that could leave him open to some damage.
Right, it's actually interesting to note that the big Infernoid, the one that takes 3 Infernoids to be banished, cannot tribute itself to banish something from the grave. It doesn't have that effect. It can only tribute an Infernoid monster to negate a spell or trap for one of them, and the other one can negate a monster. Looks like Matt here is considering his options. At this point, with so much time invested into game one, neither player really wants to lose it, because you would pretty much be game two. You would either win that and go force yourself into a draw, or let your opponent win. So Matt is playing carefully here and doesn't want to make any misplays. He's looking at the Burial and seeing what options he can finally get out before he plays it.
Okay, so he's going to activate Burial from the different dimension. Let's see what he puts back. He's going to put back a Sightsamus.
Harmadic?
And I believe that's 2 Harmadics.
2 Harmadics.
Right, and then he's gonna banish the 2 Harmadics for the Sightsmiths.
So essentially he just gets 1 summon, which is pretty interesting here.
Alright, so the Sightsmith is actually gonna run into the the Anunku here. And the only condition for Sightsmith to get the banish effect at the end of the battle phase is that it attacked an opponent's monster. It doesn't have to destroy it. The destroyed monster doesn't have to go to the graveyard. It just has to have attacked. So he's going to get the banish off here.
Yeah, it looks like Matt is looking at Ryan's graveyard, seeing just how many Infernoid monsters he has. And actually looking at it, he doesn't really have that many left. I think I saw 3 of them. Or that's a Lumina, 2 a Card Trooper, and maybe 1 or 2 more Infernoids. So he doesn't have an unlimited amount of resources, but he definitely has something to work with here. Oh, so he's going to tribute the Sightsmith right away to banish an Infernoid to prevent Ryan from summoning right away.
Alright, so Ryan draws for turn, and he's checking what's in his graveyard. So he banishes 1 to special summon. I believe that's an Entra, so Entra can return Deviati. Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, so
Okay.
Burial's gonna seal the game.
Yeah.
Because much like what Matt did, Ryan can just return 3 to his graveyard, then banish 2 to special summon a Sightsmith or a Natondal and attack for game.
Yeah, so Burial actually coming in the clutch for both of the Infernoid players and really being able to. So we're going to go to game 2. Okay, so we're going into game 2 between Ryan Dale playing in black and Matt Brinkman playing in white. And if you didn't see the game 1, it's an Infernoid mirror match. A very long game 1. It was almost 32 minutes. Kind of unprecedented for an Infernoid match. But we'll see if it's the same here. Hopefully they don't go into time. You really don't want games like this to be determined in time. It's one of the worst feelings, actually. But for Matt, the best I guess he's looking for is either he wins by OTKing really quickly in this game and then winning a game 3 or getting a draw. So it's actually in Ryan's favor because of how long that game 1 was. I actually had this in a YCS happen to me. I played a Shadow Mirror and that went on forever. It was almost a 40-minute mirror and I couldn't win at that point. It was almost impossible.
Yeah, so it's really just going to depend here on who can really get their milling going. Like a single reasoning or a monster gate where you're milling 10 to 15 cards and your opponent isn't milling that many Infernoid cards at the same time is really going to win you the game here.
Yeah. So it looks like Matt has opted to go second. Actually a pretty good idea. He's going to get that extra card to combo with and hopefully draw a reasoning with.
Okay, so Ryan's going to summon Raiden and activate Raiden's effect, milling Dark Hole, and I believe that's a Petrulia over there.
So 1 monster out of the many required for Infernoids to win the game. He's going to set 1 in the back row, and maybe that's a sideboard card. Sideboard cards might be Fiend Comedian. I'm not sure what else. Oh, it's going to get Galaxy Cyclone. It's a Galaxy Cyclone.
It's also a Galaxy Cyclone.
So, not exactly the greatest card. The Galaxy Cyclone, Matt probably wants to hold it for more fearsome back rows. A pretty good bluff on Ryan's part to just set the Galaxy Cyclone. It's not a big deal for him.
Right, you see that Mirror Force in Ryan's graveyard. If he set that, that could have come in really big, especially in a time-oriented game like this. Okay, so he summons an Natondal, and that's going to attack over the Raiden, and it's going to attack again directly for quite a bit of damage.
So it looks like Matt is aware of this. He's playing a little faster now. The time is running down quickly, and he really wants to put damage on the board to end this so he has a chance of winning.
Right.
While Ryan is sitting in a comfortable position and is just looking to slowly grind out this game.
Right, the thing to note here is that Matt actually didn't have any mill cards. He didn't have a Charge of the Light Brigade, a Reasoning, or a Monster Gate. It's not looking too good for him.
Yeah. That's a 3-monster Infernoid summon. That wasn't free at all, actually. It was very, very poor use of resources. But he does have a Banish, though. He could potentially tribute it to banish the Infernoid monster from Ryan's graveyard to prevent any plays if he feels like it. But honestly, maybe the board control is more important at this point.
Okay, so Ryan banishes one to summon. That's a Harmadic.
Yeah, so it looks like it's gone.
Harmadic's gonna destroy.
It's not gonna matter. He's gonna chain it.
Tondel.
Banish the Galaxy Cyclone, probably. Oh no, it's another Infernoid. Okay, so he has 2.
Banishing the Tondel from grave. Oh, Ryan has a Reasoning here. That's definitely going to generate quite a bit of advantage.
Yes, that is a very good card. And actually, Ryan might be able to swing the game into his favor right now. Let's see how many he mills.
So it's 2 Infernoids.
A Voidseer.
3 Infernoids. 4. Oh, dang.
Wow.
That's 5 Infernoids into the graveyard.
And a Voidseer.
Right.
But gifting from Matt, he called 3, and he didn't get to mill 3 more off that card trooper that was.
Luckily.
Yeah, luckily. No, skillfully is the correct term. The very good call. The reasonable call. Okay, so time has been called.
Actually, 3 would probably make sense, because if he had a 3, he could overlay with the Harmadic and make a Dante. And Dante would mill 3 more cards, and he'd swing for 2,500.
Or a Ghost Rick Alucard to remove his face down.
Right, so an educated play by Matt here, I think.
Yes. Time has been called. Rad Ryan 5Ds is turn 0, making Matt turn 1, Ryan turn 2, Matt turn 3, Ryan turn 4, and Matt having the last turn as turn 5. But it looks like at this point, it might not even get to that point.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to last that long.
Yeah.
Ryan has too many cards in the graveyard compared to Matt's only 1.
Yeah. Well, it's 2 relevant cards, but not nearly enough to stand to the likes of Rad Ryan 5D's graveyard.
He's going to banish 1 to summon Deviati.
Massive monster. It's going to pop the back row. It is.
It's a Book of Eclipse. I believe he's not going to chain it. He doesn't want to give Ryan those 2 draws because, I mean, with Matt down so many cards. Like,
right. But it's playing into time. It actually might be useful to chain it, but it might be negated anyway, so it's not going to matter really. He'll just trigger the Harmadic to negate it.
I'm looking in Matt's hand. He has a Raigeki and a Breakthrough Skill. So the Raigeki, not too big of a deal. We know that Ryan has a Voidseer in graveyard, and he can, of course, chain the effect of his oh no, he can't chain any effects. But no, he can use a Harmadic's effect because it's Ryan's opponent's turn.
Won't Deviati be able to negate the spell?
Right, Deviati would also be able to negate it, but he'd have to tribute a monster anyways.
Yes, he's definitely getting rid of 1 monster for sure. He's going to tribute the Harmadic.
And banish the Tondel. And he's also going to banish the Voidseer. Yeah. Yes. So that'll protect Deviati, and Deviati won't be destroyed. Sets the Breakthrough Skill past his turn. It's really not looking good for Matt here. Matt needs to hit a Reasoning quickly.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage on board already. Matt being pressured by time, the tournament procedures, and the massive board that Ryan has. Tough seat to be sitting in. I definitely wouldn't want to be sitting in there. I want to be sitting comfortably over in Ryan's seat, who is doing very well and has a massive board and all the options available to him. He has a Breakthrough Skill set. Maybe he's bluffing to Ryan with some Mirror Force. Oh, plays Book of Eclipse, turns it face down, so that he can summon more monsters. Oh, a pretty good play by Ryan, actually. Ooh. And I think this is lethal on board. It should be.
So he gets the attacking with the Sightsamus.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so that's the game.
So that's game. Rad Ryan able to take this Infernoid Mirror match 2-0. Now, if you like this video, you want to see more, make sure you subscribe.
And if you guys like this video, make sure that you guys give it a thumbs up.
Until next time, make sure to hold on to your MST.TV.